and welcome to this segment of American Dream TV. I'm Nathan Pfahler, your host for Selling Indianapolis. Today we're going to look at two different historic downtown neighborhoods, one being the Old Northside, where we'll tour the Indiana Landmarks building and the Morris Butler House. And then we'll be coming back down to Fountain Square to check out a new development by Onyx and East. Hope you enjoy the tour. Today we are sitting here with Marsh Davis, President and CEO of Indiana Landmarks. Marsh, give us a little overview of what Indiana Landmarks, why it was originally founded, and what it does throughout the state of Indiana.
Well, imagine being in the 1950s where there's a lot of change. The interstate highways are ripping through our cities. Urban renewal is funding the demolition of many historic neighborhoods. So in 1959, a group of business leaders here in Indianapolis, including Mr. Eli Lilly, familiar name to most people, gathered at the Columbia Club just to explore the idea of forming an organization that would save some historic places for the future generations. It was a very intentional idea from the beginning. It wasn't a reaction against one particular building, but it was a forward-looking idea. And so that's the genesis, what is now Indiana Landmarks. It used to be called Historic Landmarks Foundation of Indiana. The board members located a property across the alley from this building called the Morris Butler House.
Okay.
It was our first project, and it was undertaken from 1965 until 1969. It was opened with great acclaim and a 3-day celebration. Mr. Lilly was pleased, and he basically created the first part of our endowment at Indiana Landmark. Bit by bit, we expanded, starting with the historic neighborhoods here in Indianapolis, including this one, the Lockerbie Square area, and gradually built out into the state. And so now we have 9 regional offices in addition to our state headquarters. And that sets us apart from our peers anywhere in the country. We're the largest statewide nonprofit preservation organization. We cultivated several people, but the one that made it happen was the cultivation of Bill and Gail Cook, famous for their restoration of French Lick Springs and even greater so the West Baden Springs. Yeah. The most spectacular restoration project we'll ever see. Gail Cook had a thing for domes. And so we're sitting in this room with a big dome, but a lot of the quality you see here would never have happened without Bill and Gail Cook. Great partnership. It was the last project that he did in the last year of his life, and I think it really kept him going.
Well, Marsh, I thank you very much for your time and your energy and putting all the efforts that you've put into not only this building, but others throughout the state of Indiana. And thanks so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're sitting here with Mark DeLassi. He is the Vice President of Preservation Services here at the Indiana Landmarks. What can you tell us a little bit more about the West Baden project?
It was a long time coming, let's say, in terms of its success. I started with that project way back in the late 1980s when I took a job down in our southern office and started working on the hotel. Of course, during that period in 1990, there was an entire 6-story collapse of a portion of the building. The building was cherished by so many people, both people that live in Indiana as well as beyond, that knew its great history, terrific and unique architecture, that it was really something that we needed to, as an organization, focus on its preservation and restoration. We brought in structural engineers who helped to map out how the building should be restored. We worked with potential funders. One of the leading individuals who helped us acquire the building were the Habig family, and they gave us the funding to be able to acquire West Baden. What started out as a fairly small commitment grew into a really big vision and investment. And you know, the economic development impacts were huge because you went from a vacant building to one that's created hundreds of jobs in the Springs Valley. So
that structure was unique from its very beginning days. And if I'm remembering some articles I've read, at some point in time it was considered like the 8th wonder of the world, right? Yeah.
It had the largest dome in the world on the building, an extremely significant structure both in Indiana and globally.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate the time and energy that you gave to us today.
Of course.
And we'll be back in touch with future needs. Currently, we're in the COLERE development by Onyx and East in Fountain Square, and I'm standing here with Denise Potter, one of the sales reps for Onyx and East. Denise, give us a little overview of this particular community.
Okay, so as he said, we're in COLERE. So there's about 28 townhomes here, 6 single family, 2 duplexes. Most of the units have rooftops, which people love, 2-car attached garage, which people love as well. And we're really close to the downtown area.
Price point of these townhouses are what, between $350 and high fours?
That is correct. So the 350 is probably going to get you about 1,300 square feet.
Okay.
And then the 450 high fours is probably going to get you somewhere about 2,200 square feet in this complex.
Well, Denise, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us not only about the COLERE neighborhood, but the other neighborhoods that Onyx and East is currently developing. So, and a little fun side note, if you're in the Tampa area of Florida, there's Onyx and East there too. Thank you for joining me on the tour of these 2 iconic downtown Indianapolis neighborhoods, the Old Northside and Fountain Square. My name is Nathan Pfahler, and I'm your host of American Dream TV.